Welcome back, my passive income investors. I like to my top 2 favorite dividend stocks of all time. In fact, they're hitting all-time highs, which breaks my bloody heart, because how do you recommend buying these when I can't even bring myself to buy them? So let's get through this news. Why are these things hitting all-time highs? And then where the heck are there deals in this market? Because I sure as heck can't find it. So in the clarity of my transparency, help the channel out, folks. Hit that like button, and let's kick it off by zooming out and obviously talking about a dividend king, the giant, the best of the best. Yes, Johnson & Johnson, that just posted their earnings today, folks, and it's incredible to think that this conglomerate of an awesome company is now sitting at over a 30 PE. My God, it's trading like a tech giant, but it doesn't have the growth like one, which is kind of skeptical, or makes me skeptical, because currently I hold 85 shares at an average buy of $140.82. And as much as I think every single person should have this in their portfolio, I really don't know how you add it at these current levels, because the growth rate just isn't there. And let's talk about earnings. In fact, if you were to Google around and say, hey, what are Johnson & Johnson's earnings looking like? You'll probably come across this CNBC headline that says, hey, J&J reports $100 million in quarterly sales from the CV vaccine. And this can't be real. And it can't be true because they do the vaccine as a non-for-profit. They're losing money on the vaccine. In fact, they kind of said that they're losing 10 cents a share. And somebody in the Q&A actually asked, when are you guys going to start making a profit on the vaccine? Take a listen.
Just wanted to get your latest thinking on the potential to shift to more of a for-profit model as we potentially exit the immersion phase. I realize it might be a little early to talk about that, but just wanted to get your latest thinking on the potential to shift to more to shift post the immersion phase of this pandemic. Thank you very much.
Thanks for the question. Our focus from the beginning in this pandemic was to be a partner in addressing this humanitarian crisis. And as a consequence, in order to make sure that we facilitate access globally, we decided to go with a non-for-profit model. Our focus now remains to be able to be a participant in addressing this pandemic, and once this pandemic is over, there will be time to discuss different options.
So I hate CNBC because this clickbait BS headline isn't actually facilitated anywhere in the earnings. So I don't know where they came up with this. But let's get into these earnings and see what happened. But first, I'm going to pat myself on the back. I made a video a couple days ago saying, hey, on Johnson & Johnson's earnings, I wouldn't be surprised if they increased the dividend. I'm going to give you a little cherry on top of an announcement cake, because this company coming up is going to be releasing earnings Tuesday, April 20th. And because it hasn't increased its dividend yet, something tells me here, folks, unless I miss something, that we're going to get a dividend increase on the release. Sure enough, here we are sitting up 5% because they haven't done a quarterly increase yet this year. And this dividend king has yet to go without 50 plus years without increasing that dividend. So this was widely expected, makes me feel better for those shares that I'm holding, of course. But getting into the actual earnings, the reported sales increased 7.9% year over year for this beginning quarter, sitting at 22.3 billion. I got always $1 billion, guys. It's always weird talking in billions when you look at these conglomerates. But more impressively than not, I think it's fun looking at the individual segments of income. Consumer health is where they took the biggest hit, which is really odd to me because that was one of their better growing segments, probably because people were stocking up on Band-Aids and Tylenol. And now that they're stocked up, maybe they're buying a little less, who knows? But they finally see an increase on pharmaceuticals, and they're finally seeing an increase on medical devices, which means clearly surgeries are coming back, something that we widely predicted in that video I made a couple days ago here, folks. So all in all, the company in Q1 saw an increase of 7.9%. This is not going to slow down, in my humble opinion. And honestly, once we get to the other side of this pandemic, something tells me these are going to become yearly inoculations. And that's when they're going to start turning this into maybe a profit machine, but they're never going to mention this vaccine for profit in this current stage of this crisis we're in, because it seems greedy and wrong to try and make money off something when people are in dire need of this stuff, right? So that's Johnson & Johnson. Now, one that's coming up that I'm very intrigued about is STAG Industrial. There's been insider institutional buyers that have been gobbling this sucker up like candy, and it really ticks me off because I wasn't done buying it. I mean, I love this company when it was paying out a 4.8% dividend yield, where I was buying it literally not even a month ago. I picked up 278 shares, average buy price of $31. And yeah, I'm really kind of shocked that it's run up this much, guys, because I couldn't figure out why. Where's the news? Where's the headlines? I mean, today, the only thing that came out was they got to ring the closing bell because it's their 10th anniversary, I believe, in the markets here.
Welcome, STAG Industrial, as they highlight their 10th anniversary by ringing the closing bell of the New York Stock Exchange.
So that was kind of intriguing that today is the day that they're probably getting a little more publicity than usual, but not enough to raise the stock price. I mean, their earnings are coming up May 4th, and with this institutional money kind of flowing into it right now, does that say there's somebody knows something we don't? Well, I've already been telling you this is probably one of the greatest REITs of all time to be buying right now, so that can't be new news either. So why the heck is STAG running so much? Because the only two stocks I keep telling people to buy were STAG for some REITs and Johnson & Johnson for some stability, because you ain't have those two. What are you doing wrong with your life? I mean, come on, guys. These are the best companies ever, and now I can't recommend them. They're up way too much, but this is a cyclical problem right now happening through the entire bloody market, guys. There are no deals out there at all. Bitcoin has been still holding all-time highs. Not that anybody's buying that. Not that any of you are probably buying that. I am, however. But still, take a look at this. All my dividend stocks, guys. RioCan, oh my God, hit all-time, or 50, I don't know. It basically hit the highs that it hasn't seen since the crash in the pandemic. Johnson & Johnson, STAG, Northland Power, all my banks were hitting all-time highs. I mean, look at this, guys. Pepsi up. Kimberly-Clark is up. The only stocks that I would recommend buying, and I can't even tell you to buy a lot of these because I'm not buying them anymore, that is MO, my British American Tobacco, your sin stocks like Philip Morris that just fell off a cliff. My biggest fear with the sin stocks is I think they're so undervalued, but like companies I used to own in the past, sometimes if public sentiment just hates those companies, their stock price will never get traction. But something tells me as big as MO is, it'll be around for a while. It annoys me that every time it starts going somewhere, they punch it into the ground by basically banning menthols in the US. They're trying to cut back the nicotine amounts in cigarettes, and it just doesn't make any sense. Why do you ban something when you just decriminalize things like, coke, all those other hard drugs in Oregon? How do you decriminalize one side of the illegal market and start making it illegal for other products? Anyways, I'm just going to leave that there. Kind of frustrating. But MO, probably the only real deal in the market right now. I mean, look at this, guys. Scott's Miracle-Gro selling off a little bit, but Procter & Gamble hitting toward all-time highs. And the only place there are deals are in this really kind of confusing area of the market where you guys seem to be stuttered. And I know you're stuttered because you're messaging me about things like MindMed. And you're like, what is happening here? Should I sell out? Should I be buying? And honestly, guys, it bothers me a lot that this is the only place to get deals in the market, in my humble opinion, is those speculative investments, because investors must be stupid. Because what they're doing right now is selling out of their most speculations, their highest speculative investments that are falling off a cliff. They're taking that money and they're funneling it into things like Johnson & Johnson that are hitting all-time highs, when it just doesn't make sense because I can't bring myself to buy them. And the only place where I'm looking at stocks right now are the stocks that I sold back when you guys reamed me out for selling them toward all-time highs, and MindMed was one of those. But here we sit, guys. I mean, look at something like a Hyliion trading down 84%, hitting new lows today. I mean, CCIV hitting new lows today, Virgin Galactic. I mean, I could go on and on and on. So I'm not sure what to do right now because I've kind of put the brakes on my highly speculative investments, and I've kind of just been using Bitcoin and Tesla as those high spec plays. But honestly, at this level, guys, I mean, the only place I see value is literally in the speculative side of the market. And I passed the question off to you. Do you guys know any dividend stocks or any dividend kings right now that are still trading at a relative discount to the market? Because for the time being, guys, there's only two places to go, and that is stack cash for the time being, or put your money into some more speculations. And putting those two things aside, the only thing that I would recommend, honestly, because I don't recommend most people buy speculative investments. I also don't recommend people buy J&J at all-time highs. But if you're going to buy something, buy an index fund. I mean, VOO is still trading down a little bit today, but guys, I don't know what to do here. This is a crazy market. So in light of all this, stay cool, stay awesome, and I look forward to catching you tomorrow.